Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by an actor, artist, director, sculptor, and screenwriter. You've seen him in Home Alone, Rookie of the Year, City Slickers, and heard his voice in The Wonder Years. His latest project is his memoir, Home and Alone. We welcome Daniel Stern.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sean.
Daniel, let's go beyond the mic. Your personal mission is empowering young people and has been part of your biggest films.
Yeah.
Why was that so important for you?
That's the future of the world, Sean. That's all. Just the entire future of the human race. If we don't get our kids feeling good about themselves, how they're going to contribute to the world, what they're going to do with their lives, and help them find themselves, then it all falls apart. So even though I was a dropout, dyslexic kid, I found my way as an artist and an actor. And as like you said, the movies I've been in give that message. I think that's one of the reasons why Home Alone is held on all these years, and some of those other movies too, because families, the parents want the kids to feel they can do it. The kids want to feel that. And that really is our life's mission. So I wanted to highlight that.
As you start writing these stories down, how did the process allow you a little bit of freedom to let some stuff off your chest?
You know, because it wasn't going to be a book. It was for me. And I was sort of writing it as just like, what happened? How did I end up with such a lucky life from where I started? And so I told myself those stories and just recounted that for myself. Then as I started to flesh it out into a book and sort of fill in the chapters in the stories and sort of made myself laugh telling those stories, it was kind of freeing to write about some of the weirder parts of my life and figure out I did end up, once I knew it was a book, I wanted to know, what does the reader want to know? I'm an audience pleaser, so I tried to see what would be a good story for the people who might want to buy the book. What do they want to know about?
Daniel, which story from the book almost didn't make it?
Which almost didn't make it? I guess the nude scenes.
We'll stop it right there.
Well, I do talk about I did have to do a few nude scenes in movies, and how horrible and embarrassing. How many people? So I did. I mean, it was fun to write about it because there were such traumatic moments in my life. So it's a joke, but it's also kind of funny to like. Oh, that's a weird thing. It looks weird when I watch it. It's even more weird when you do it.
It's time for the truth and nothing but the truth. It is Daniel Stern. His book is Home and Alone, and he joins us for the Rockin' 8. It's 8 random questions. Daniel, all you got to do is answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure.
All right.
Daniel, what's the best thing your wife, Lori, does for you every day?
I think I would have to say rubs my back when we get into bed. She reads her book. I pretend like I'm reading, and she rubs my back, and she just makes me feel the world is right, and I go to sleep.
Which is the favorite episode of The Wonder Years that you directed?
That I directed? Have to be the first one. I can't remember the name of it, but it was such a breakthrough personally to get behind the camera at last when I'd been wanting to do it, and to realize, hey, I can do this. So that one sticks out.
How would your high school English teacher think about not only your acting career, but that you wrote a book?
Again, I flunked out of all the English classes. My English teacher, I dropped out, but he gave me credit for having been in all the school plays so that I would have my high school diploma. But if he knew that I wrote a book, his jaw would be on the floor. Impossible.
Best thing about your kids as they grew up?
Well, they're watching them be parents. Watching them, as I've seen them now, turn into parents themselves and see how loving and encouraging they are of their kids. It's a beautiful thing to watch them become parents.
What's the funniest thing about Jackie Earle Haley?
Funniest thing about Jackie?
Yeah.
I guess his super intensity. That young man as a kid, man, he was an intense young actor. Yeah, just a surprise.
Best and worst thing from craft services?
Well, I mean, peanut butter and jelly. I'm a very simple man. Although, when they bring around the sushi tray, I can't help but dip in.
What's the one part that you didn't get that you would have killed for?
It was, I had a screen test for Ordinary People, the part that Tim Hutton played.
Wow.
There was no way I could have done what he did. But that part, I felt like, I felt so connected with that book and that part.
What's your favorite sculpture you've created that no one but family has seen?
I've got one in my studio I'm working on now. It's an 8-foot tall totem of 4 women stacked on top of each other. And I'm actually starting to get pretty good at this. And I'm doing a lot of the sculpture now for myself, as opposed to trying to sell. So I think that one. Come on over and look at it.
It's time for One Big Question with Daniel Stern. His book is Home and Alone, and he joins us beyond the mic. You tell people in Home and Alone, quote, "The greatest power in the world is love, and my wish for the reader is to have as much of it in their lives as is humanly possible," unquote. How has your definition of love evolved from your first understanding of it to today?
That's a deep one, dude. That's a deep one. I mean, it keeps expanding. That's what's amazing. There's more and more room. When my son was having his first kid, he's like, "How do I make room for that?" Your life expands. Who knew that life expands that way? There's not a limited amount that you have to give. And now seeing these grandkids and loving them in a whole new way. The fans I've learned to love who've come back to me. I've grown into accepting people's love to me and be able to give it back. So that's the engine of this universe too, right? Empowered kids who are loved, and that's the whole message.
He loves when his wife rubs his back working on an 8-foot tall totem sculpture. His book is Home and Alone. We thank Daniel Stern for taking the time to talk with us today.
Sean, thanks so much for having me. And by the way, all the money from the book goes to the Boys and Girls Clubs to empower more young people, because I'm putting all the money back into that and put my money where my mouth is on that message. My pleasure. Thanks for talking, Sean.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut. If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app.